Welcome to another episode of News in a Week. Now, this program is designed for those who are pressed with time and unable to follow live updates on news and current affairs on our channel. I'm Francesca Phiri-Banda. Early this year, the Zambia Revenue Authority destroyed bricks of cigarettes smuggled into the country through the Chirundu border post. The illicit trade in tobacco and its products is robbing the Zambian industry of about 200 million kwacha annually. Now, that staggering amount has prompted the British American Tobacco to ask government to formulate policies that will stop the sale of illicit tobacco products.
So profitable is illicit trade that tobacco products are the world's most widely smuggled products today. The illicit trade in tobacco products is a multi-billion-dollar business, fueling organized crime and corruption, as well as robbing government of the much-needed tax revenue. British American Tobacco Zambia says the Zambian government must step up efforts to eradicate the illegal trade in tobacco products. According to the company, the illicit trade in cigarettes adds up to 200 million kwacha annual loss in revenue. The country's estimated illicit trade incidence is between 20 and 30%, which is above the global average between 6 and 12%. The illicit trade is defined as the production, import, export, purchase, sale, or possession of tobacco goods which fail to comply with tobacco legislation and regulations. British American Tobacco Zambia Managing Director Godfrey Manchanzi says illegal trade in cigarettes is the biggest threat to the legal tobacco industry.
The big concern that we have is that there's a very big increase in the amount of illicit products in the market. And unfortunately, as legal business, you cannot compete with products that don't pay taxes. You literally cannot. And the risk that we have is that after we've built the factory, after we've done the employment of all the people that we're employing, we will not be able to run a business profitably because there's a flood of illicit products in the market. So our plea to government is very clear. We need a great increase in the amount of enforcement, great increase in the amount of efforts to kill the illicit problem in the market so that legal businesses can operate, so that legal businesses can employ and contribute to government in terms of revenue and other things.
Greater levels of cooperation and collaborations are needed to fight illicit trade, but a greater understanding of the legal tobacco trade is still lacking. In Zambia, in a year, more than 400 million cigarettes enter the market illicitly, while counterfeits and tax avoidance account for 30% of the products on the market. Stopping the flow of illicit cigarettes on the market can help bridge the national budget deficit gap. Phiri-Banda, Diamond News.
Peace and reconciliation talks seem to be on course following the meeting held between Commonwealth Envoy Professor Ibrahim Gambari and the United Party for National Development. Now, the two parties met and the meeting took about 4 hours. The UPND says it is happy with submissions made to the Commonwealth Secretary General Patricia Scotland's envoy for dialogue ahead of the 2021 national elections. The result of spate of fires across the country has left devastating results affecting a lot of people. The major problem is that the fire brigade has faced a lack of proper equipment to quench these fires. Government finally commissioned 42 fire tenders that acquired at a cost of 42 million United States dollars. The fire tenders were handed over to all local councils across the country at a ceremony officiated by the Vice President.
The recent fires have been fast and furious. Millions worth of goods have been lost in infernos. Zambia has in the recent past witnessed a number of infernos which include the burning down of Sept Market in Lusaka and Kapalala Market in Ndola, among other places. As a proactive measure, last year local government permanent secretary Amos Malupenga announced a procurement of 42 fire tenders. The new fire tenders were a government measure to equip the fire service sector. The fire tenders have since been handed over to the local authorities with the view of improving service delivery. $42 million was involved in the purchasing of the equipment. Handing over the tenders to the local authorities, Vice President Inongewina says government will continue to empower local authorities with appropriate equipment to help improve services.
We will continue to empower local authorities with appropriate equipment for firemen and women to enable them discharge their duties effectively, especially with the massive infrastructure we have put in place since 2011, and they are still being implemented. The procurement of firefighting and the rescue equipment will remain an ongoing exercise until all the fire brigades in the country have been adequately equipped. In addition to the fire tenders, I'm handing over today, my government will construct 11 more modern fire stations around the country. And one for each provincial capital, and also a modern fire and rescue training facility in Kawe.
Zambia has had no fire police since independence.
As you may be well aware, that there's never been such significant investment in the fire sector in this country, in the history of this country. There's a lot of money that has gone in this equipment, to this equipment, and as we've been told by the supplier, that this equipment was tailored to meet the needs of Zambia. This is very significant. The second thing, very significant also, is that before the end of this year, we will have a fire policy in this country. Again, the first since independence, as we heard from the deputy mayor.
Firefighters have commended government for taking a step in the prevention of fire to save property and lives.
Your Honor, we appreciate that the fire tender have been procured at a great cost, and we want therefore to assure you that our member will not abuse the equipment but ensure that it is used for the intended purpose to contribute to the economic growth of our country.
According to the suppliers, the fire tenders have been designed to suit the Zambian terrain and market. The 42 fire tenders will be distributed to the country's 40 fire stations. Nchimnyangando, Diamond News.
We'll take a break. We're back soon.
It's breakfast time. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. We've all heard the cliche. Fortunately for you, that is a yummy fact. Set the tone for the day. Choose to feed your mind, body, and soul with the healthiest of breakfast right here on Diamond TV. Join me, Chacha, and the Diamond Squad every weekday from 06:30 to 8 a.m. as we cater to your breakfast needs.
Now imagine a breakfast that you can visualize. The best of news, the latest of entertainment, the best of sports, current affairs packaged in 2 hours of great entertainment every day.
Serving you with information, keeping you nourished with knowledge on issues that matter to you.
A living inmate testified in the Lusaka High Court how 38-year-old Shabu Benos of Lusaka's Ibex Hill allegedly threatened to kill businessman Reeves Malambo. Tamara Machele, 27, testified that she saw Benos holding a knife in her hand while allegedly shouting that she would kill Malambo. Ms. Machele said she later saw the accused's brother dragging Mr. Malambo to his vehicle and moved to hospital, where she was later told that he had died. Mr. Malambo is alleged to have been killed on January 29th this year.
The wheels of justice have finally started moving in the murder case involving Lusaka businessman Reeves Malambo, who was allegedly stabbed to death by his girlfriend Shabu Benos. Mr. Malambo met his fate on January 29 this year in a fight at the accused's home in Ibex Hill, Lusaka. 2 witnesses have so far testified, narrating what could have transpired on the material day. The first witness is Benos' maid, who has told the Lusaka High Court that on material day, she allegedly saw the accused holding a knife while shouting that she was going to kill Mr. Malambo. Tamara Machere, 27, testified that her boss kept repeating herself that she was going to kill Mr. Malambo on the fateful night he lost his life. Ms. Machere, who was a living inmate, told the court that prior to the death of Mr. Malambo, the deceased went to her boss's house, but he did not find her as she had gone to the hospital with her brother. She testified that Mr. Malambo left promising that he would communicate with Benos later. Machere narrated that around 22 hours, she saw Benos and her brother came back from the hospital. She said around 23 hours, she overheard a quarrel in Nyanja in which the accused allegedly threatened to kill Mr. Malambo. Machere said after hearing those words, she walked to the passage from her room and found the accused's brother dragging Mr. Malambo to his car while Benos followed behind, allegedly holding a knife. And when asked to describe the kind of a knife she saw, Miss Machere said it was a long sharp knife with a cross on the edge. She said after some time, the accused's brother had returned home and announced that Mr. Malambo was no more. Gwendolyn Muchenga, Diamond News.
The date is fast approaching. October 1st, the analog transmission will be switched off and digital migration will be in full effect. In this vein, Information Minister Kampamba Mlenga says government has over the years secured 500,000 decoders for distribution countrywide at a cost of 99 kwacha each.
So TV signal is now available in parts of Central, Eastern and Rwapula provinces, in line with government's plans to ensure all parts of the country are completely migrated from analog to digital TV signal. I am proud to note that the paid TV players have equally responded to the digital migration drive. Government has secured over 500,000 decoders for national distribution in the past months, and they are going at 99 kwacha only. Once analog transmission is switched off on the 1st of October 2017, Topstar, a joint venture between the Zambia National Broadcasting Corporation and Star Times of China, will introduce affordable subscription fees. My ministry wishes to state that alongside the Independent Broadcasting Authority, IBA, and the Zambia Information Communications Technology Authority, Sept, we expect all players in the public and private sector to abide by the regulations set out by the digital migration policy. We will not hesitate to bring to book any erring entity, as we believe that while the media are free to operate, they must continue to show responsibility and abide by the rule of the law.
The Non-Governmental Coordinating Council, NGOCC, has opposed the tabling in Parliament of the political parties bill. NGOCC Executive Director Ngwase Mwale says enacting the political parties bill in its current form has the potential to stifle the democratic space, especially for the opposition political parties. And Justice Minister Given Lewinda has commended the civil society organizations for their submission of their views on the political party bill. The Justice Minister says the political party bill should not only be a concern for politicians, but citizens as well. On Friday, President Edgar Lungu opened the second session of the 12th National Assembly. The opposition members of parliament were present this time around after serving their one-month suspension for boycotting President Lungu's State of the Nation address in March. In addressing parliament, President Lungu shared the government's vision for the next 12 months and beyond.
The unexpected happened. The UPND members of parliament who had twice walked out on President Edgar Lungu's national address to parliament were present. In attendance also was former head of state Kenneth Kaunda, foreign dignitaries, some political party leaders and invited members of the public. The Zambian parliament of 164 members comprised 80 elected members of the Patriotic Front, 8 nominated, 58 UPND members of parliament, 14 independents, 3 MMD members and 1 FDD. President Edgar Lungu was coming to Parliament to officially open the second session of the 12th National Assembly. He was not coming alone to Parliament but with his First Lady, Esther Lungu, to unveil his vision for the country. But before that, he was expected to perform his functions as the head of state, such as inspecting a guard of honor mounted by the 2nd Battalion of the Zambian Regiment. Traditional dance groups also did not want to be outdone as the president, received by the Speaker of National Assembly, Patrick Matibini, proceeded to Parliament building. In delivering his speech, President Lungu highlighted the key result areas or strategic pillars of focus which his administration has set for itself as outlined in the 7th National Development Plan. President Lungu was also on economic diversification and reducing job creation, reducing poverty and vulnerability, reducing development inequalities, enhancing human development and creating a conducive governance environment. He says despite the challenges, he is happy that his government is working as the country has witnessed development in the recent past. He further said inflation has continued to remain at a single digit and that meal prices have gone down, in which he said government will continue to dismantle the stock of public expenditure arrears and improve expenditure controls to maintain a stronger economy.
Mr. Speaker, after subdued economic activities, whose growth rate was reduced by 2.9% in 2015, the Zambian economy has rebounded in 2017. It is worth noting the fact that adversely affected the growth rate in the recent past in order to inform our policies going forward. Copper prices declined. Power generation capacity also declined due to poor rainfall. This negatively affected industrial production and provision of services, while agricultural production also dropped due to poor rainfall patterns. Consequently, domestic pressures arising from huge demand to meet contractual obligations, mainly in the infrastructure sector, increased. My government reacted boldly with well-intended measures to remove subsidies and ease pressure on expenditures.
President Lungu did not shy away from the importance of love and unity.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, we may disagree and quarrel, but we remain one. The factors that unite us are much greater than those that seek to divide us. Just like when one arm cuts the other with a razor blade, one does not go out and take an axe to cut it off. We may disagree and quarrel, but we remain one. That is fundamental. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, the spate of acts of arson and sabotage, hate speech on social media, and other injurious acts against others are an assault on ourselves. No iota of explanation, Mr. Speaker, can justify what we've experienced in the recent past.
And here's how stakeholders responded to the president's speech.
But others felt that the head of state concentrated more on what his government had already achieved, as opposed to what has to be done.
The bulk of the speech, the majority of it, was really talking about things that have been achieved. And what we would like to see as NAREB is a more honest approach to our development challenges. We are not saying that things have not progressed. I think there have been some very positive developments. However, real progress comes when you are able to look at what you haven't done.
And the opposition UPND could not have left the event without talking about dialogue.
As I'm talking to you now, we have a process, a dialogue process. He has not touched on it at all. And to us, it gives us how much value he attaches to it. We have a lot of our people who are in prison unwarranted. I'm sure you all know. We expected the president to give an amnesty to everybody to go home if he really means what he said about love. So we doubt seriously that the president was in control of his situation.
Gwendolyn Muchenga, Diamond News.
The sponsors of the Zambia Super League MTN have reassured the football family of their commitment to the growing sport. Company Chief Executive Officer Charles Molapisi says MTN will continue to work with the Football Association of Zambia. Molapisi states that his company and the Football Association have shared a good relationship since joining hands 7 years ago. Molapisi laughed off a question on rumors of the league sponsors pulling out their sponsorship and said that his company will wait for direction from FAZ, who are the custodian of Zambian football in the Woodlands matter. FAZ banned City of Lusaka Football Club from playing their league games at Woodlands Stadium due to conflict of interest with Vodafone, who acquired naming rights to the stadium. He, however, says the company is open to the idea of competition and are not threatened by anyone.
We continue to work with the association. We have a fantastic relationship. We relate with them well. We actually identify with the vision of the association where they want to take football. You know, we are the #1 supporter of Zambian football. We've been at the forefront of Zambian football for the past 7 years. and we'll continue to do so. So for us, we're quite happy with our relationship with the association. What will happen is that we get guided by the Football Association of Zambia. They are the custodians of football in this nation. We get the instructions in terms of how we need to proceed from them. Because remember, we're the support and the back of football. We are not at the forefront. As such, we don't control the administration of that. We will wait to hear guidance. We will continue to seek their wisdom on how they're going to guide us to be able to move forward. Our interest is to make sure that we deliver the support so that Zambian football can move forward. The same successes that we've had with the Football Association, we intend to continue to contribute to make sure Zambia football moves forward.
Molapisi adds that his company and FAS are planning to contract renewal once the current contract runs out. The two parties signed a contract worth $3 million in 2014, subject to revision this year.
We will be in the next round of the contractual discussions to be able to renew our contract with FAS. We are committed to the growth of football in Zambia. We've done so for the past 7 years. We'll do it again. I mean, if you look at the successes of the Nations Cup, you look at the Under-20, you look at the World Cup, you look at what's coming, we want to be part of the success. We've spent a lot of time cultivating this relationship and building Zambian football. We are not about to leave it alone.
The Under-20 handball national team left late for the Women's African Championship currently underway in Ivory Coast. The 18-member delegation, which comprises 14 players and 4 officials, was expected to leave for Ivory Coast last Sunday. However, due to lack of funds for logistics, the team left on Tuesday morning after government assistance. Madison General Insurance also assisted the team with 10,000 kwacha, which went towards the acquiring of sports gear.
The girls had been in camp for the Under-20 Africa Handball Championship the last 3 months. They broke camp on Sunday wishing someone would come to their aid by assisting them with the 384,000 kwacha they require for their air tickets and accommodation. Handball General Secretary Joseph Changa says government has shown commitment to support the team, but they are yet to come on board. Madison General Insurance has given the team 10,000 kwacha, which will go towards the purchasing of playing shoes. Managing Director Chabala Lumbo says his company will continue to support the sport because of its positive influence to the communities.
We've taken a keen interest in the affairs of handball. I think the most important and striking feature about handball, it's also a minority sport, but being a minority sport, I think what's touching us more at Madison is the impact it's having on the community. You've gone there to support young boys and girls in the community who ordinarily would not even have the opportunity of becoming responsible citizens. And I think that's a credit that we should give to the Handball Association.
Meanwhile, Handball Association of Zambia President Phiri-Banda has assured the company of good performance should the team travel for the championship.
Otherwise, we are very delighted by your encouragement that you have given us, and also the impact that handball is making to the community, especially to the girl child as well as the boy child. As Handball Association of Zambia, we will represent the nation with the honor and dignity, and our focus is to win, and as well as participation at all levels.
And captain of the team, Jabota Hamonga, has thanked the insurance firm for their continued support.
We're very grateful for everything that you do to help improve our sport, and I want to thank you for your continued support, and we hope that with this generous donation, it will be an encouragement for us, the girls, even as we travel. So we're very grateful to your institution for helping us today. Thank you very much.
It still remains a question whether the team will make it to Ivory Coast for the 2017 Under-20 Handball Championship. They are expected to play host Ivory Coast on Tuesday in their first game. Nchimnyangandu, Diamond Sports.
Let's now have a look at some of the stories that had a big audience on our social media page, Facebook. The story of musician Shadrack Mukenge, popularly known as Mumbayachi, being granted a temporary residence permit to stay in Zambia reached over 7,904 people, And we do have some comments, 8 comments and 3 shares. Some of the comments says, Peter Wale says, just leave him. Oswald Katenda says, there are so many Malawans, Zimbabweans and Tanzanians here, but Mumba ati Kongole. Joyce Nsama says, hashtag law is law and should be applied accordingly regardless of one's standing in society, period. We posted a story, Benos appearing in court, where the maid said that she threatened Reeves Malambo on the material day, and this story reached 10,900 people with 3 shares and 9 comments. Hichilema meets dialogue envoy again. This story reached 10,331 people, 1 share and 24 comments. Some of the comments, Chonia councillor says, we need a story about ECL to meet the Commonwealth. Mwenda Webster says, wishing them all the best. And those are some of the comments. Another story, we did have a story on government handing over 42 fire tenders to various beneficiary local authorities, inclusive of the councils. This story reached 10,455 people. Henry Malumo says, impressive action. It's great to see government taking action. Gift Akani says, colorful event, Apo. Dwayne Hendrick says, now the question is, who will maintain these fire engines? You should check them out just after 6 months, then come back to me. Let's now have a look at the story that got the most comments on our Facebook page in the last 1 week. Residents of Lusaka advised to store water. This story reached 62,727 people with 172 shares and 427 comments. Some of the comments, Lathan Masafa Musonda says, at least my family won't be affected. There's a boho at home. Clive Wale III says, if it's been like this for days because of the road constructions and pipes being installed in the area, I hope it won't result in 15 days of no bath. Another comment here says, no worries, my area isn't affected. That's from Simon and Ceylon. That's it for our Facebook comments and stories. That's all the time we had for you. Remember to follow us on Facebook. Our name on Facebook is Diamond TV Zambia. Also follow us on Twitter. Our handle is @Diamond TV. Same name for Instagram. Thank you so much for being your company on behalf of the entire news team. Stay safe.